is probably too, if you have quick access to Patreon on your machine that you're using to record this, might be a good idea to pop over there and take a look at the comments we've received, which were quite a few. We've also got quite a few Twitter responses and Facebook responses. So we're gonna need to hit those tonight. I hate asking and then us not being able to get to them, because I think that's not cool.
Douchey.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. I'm gonna try to be as positive as possible on this show.
God damn it, Marty! You don't need to be positive as possible. But I did want our opening to be something like Marty whines at Nintendo's doom and gloom, and look, now that it's okay, let's talk about.
Well, all it took was me lighting a fire under their rear ends.
Apparently.
I think we're going to see a big change in Marty, like all those RPGs with Japanese anime girls. Yay!
I'm totally going to do that during the show. I made a comment to somebody today, and this is what I said, and this is going to make Jesse shake his head. Or he may kick me off the show after this. I said, if you start your video game trailer out with K-pop in the background, I immediately switch off.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's the pop that stops me enjoying a lot of those games.
That's what's popular with on the other side of on the other side of your pond.
Like they went to Rune Factory 4, and I was like, oh my god, what is this?
The box art for Mario Maker 2 is nice.
It is.
Is it up?
Yeah, I've got it in the press room.
There's a placeholder box art for Daemon X Machina, and it's a strange one.
Is it a red screen? With Daemon X Machina
and the other game, the one, the platinum one, theirs is just like blue with a white outline.
Astral Chain.
Astral Chain.
Yeah. All right, let's do this thing, shall we?
Let's go. Everybody set?
Yep.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 217, recorded on Valentine's Day, February 14th. And on tonight's episode, we're in love with everything Nintendo Direct. So, Jesse, could you play the music, please?
Hey everybody, welcome once again to Nintendo Dads. Tonight we're recording episode 217. It's February 14th, 2019, and we are hot on the heels of one of the biggest Nintendo Directs that Nintendo has ever produced. And after last week, let me just say, thank you Nintendo for listening to this show and doing what I asked. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. My name is Marty. And I am here tonight with Jesse Waldack, who you've already heard from VGTribune.com. How you doing, man?
Earlier in the week, things were pretty rough. Like, everyone in the house is sick, and my youngest daughter says, "Why aren't you the only one who's sick? Everyone else is." And of course, because she said that, I got sick the next day. So, I'm
the daughter's curse.
Yes, right. So, if I, as I mentioned in the pre-show, if I have to make an emergency run, I have to make an emergency run.
Right. Speaking of emergency runs, back once again from Ireland, Mr. Justin Masson.
What's going on, folks? How are we?
It is good to see your face again.
Thank you. I'm back after last week's doom and gloom of Nintendo, and Marty, you put up the bat signal of like, I believe that everything is on fire and this is the worst thing ever. And Nintendo responds, says basically, hold my beer and let's shadow drop a couple of Battle Royale games.
You're right.
It's great to be back.
You're right. And you know what? I will say that there were moments of this, and we'll talk about the Direct, of course, in depth here in a minute. Moments of that broadcast that literally had me gasping in joy.
I don't know, I'm glad. I actually think it was one of the best Directs they've done for a while. We're going to talk, obviously we're going to break it down to everything that we do and stuff. Speaking of stuff, Gary Gray, how are you, buddy? What's going on?
I'm okay. I cried twice this week.
Did you?
both within the same presentation, so there's a clue.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to find out why later.
Wow. All
I
right.
thought
Well,
you were going to say it was like one was direct related and the other was like just as you looked out over your life. I don't know.
Shots fired.
No, I didn't mean that shots fired. I just meant I do that weekly too. You know, I just take a look at my life and like, oh my God.
In the dad panic room that we call the toilet, the one safe haven away from the family for 5
I
minutes.
usually do that about 2 a.m. after recording the show.
Absolutely.
Speaking of 2 a.m., we don't want to go too on tonight, but there is a ton of news to talk about. Again, Nintendo Direct and several other smaller Nintendo announcements that we want to not want to gloss over, but want to get to tonight. And so let's just get right into the news, gentlemen. And our news is brought to us, of course, as usual, by you, the listeners and patrons over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for as little as $1 a month, you can help us make life-changing, world-altering, fan-base shattering Nintendo content. I don't know where I'm going with there. But I do want to talk about this for just a minute. A lot of you guys who've listened to the show for a hot minute know that Tim Off is kind of the guy in the background that helps us get everything going. He's our Nintendo Dad's community manager. Tonight, a huge change made to our Patreon and our Discord, and that is that we have taken the Let's Play section, which was previously under dollar patrons, and it's still there, but we have taken that out in Discord and made a separate section for that, just to get it better organized, to allow people to have a Let's Play lobby to talk about games in. And yes, there is a very own sub Discord server, Discord channel for the greatest game that has ever been created within the last week, and that is Tetris 99. And so if you're a dollar patron or up, which would basically be everybody that's a Patreon of the show, go over there and check out those changes over on the Discord. If you're backing us and you're not a part of the Discord and maybe you missed that email or you don't know how to get in, contact us and let us know. We want you to come and be a part of the discussion and everything's going on over there because it's an awesome community that our patrons have built, and we want you to be a part of it.
Yeah, I've got to hold the race a second and give our patrons a bit of a shout out because they are improving the show. You know, there's things that are changing, things that happen, and upgrades that we get. And I also want to give a massive shout out to Ash, who heard my Starlink talk about how I didn't have a character that was pre-order only, and he sent it me, which is the most generous thing on the planet. So thank you so much, Ash. I've received it earlier this week. We actually got it a while back, and my other half just forgot to tell me that I had a package, so it's been sitting on the side for way too long.
Sitting in your house for a week.
Yeah, so thanks so much for that. It's really awesome. You know, it's got a complete Starlink collection now. So thank you very much.
Well, until the DLC drops and stuff comes out with that. Speaking of that, let's get right into the Nintendo Direct. Tons of stuff to talk about, including Starlink, which was kind of an out of left field announcement during this. But let's start at the beginning. Nintendo tweeted out on Tuesday that there would be a Nintendo Direct on Wednesday. It actually happened at 10 p.m. for you guys over there in across the pond. It happened at 4 p.m. For us. And man, without getting into like serious announcements, and because we are going to unpack each and every one of these or most of them as we go through the show, I just want to like just roundtable here you guys' thoughts on this Direct as a whole. You know, maybe at the end we'll talk about your favorite moment or whatever, but like just overall, if you had to give this like between 1 and 5 stars, where are you gonna rate this Direct? I mean, last week we talked a little bit about the drought, about how it had been the longest time between, you know, non-game specific Directs. And so what I want to do is I don't let that color your opinion. But be honest. And Gary, I want to start with you this week. Just, you know, between 1 and 5 stars, what do you think about this Direct?
So I went in with really low expectations. That's the first thing you need to know, is that I don't ever expect much at the start of the year. I think that we had a lot of games already announced. We just needed dates. So I was happy with just dates. So that's my first thing. The second thing is I would have been happy regardless of whether there was a direct or not, because I actually have so much in a backlog that it would have been nice to have had some time to actually get some of those games done.
That's what I said last week, I think.
Yeah, and so for me, it was just an expectation of a few things, but they absolutely blew it out the water for me. So I think I'd give it about an 8.
8 out of 5.
8 out of 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm only using Justin's scale of 11 out of 10 for Mario.
Yeah.
I thought that's what we did here. On
we have given an 11 out of 10 before, so that's
yeah,
totally
for a game
fine.
that deserved it.
Exactly. Jesse, what about you, man? Where would you put this direct?
Well, most of the directs, a lot of the stuff I don't care about. This one had a few to note. But, just because the games aren't for me doesn't mean they're out for everybody. So I'm perfectly fine just as long as we get some announcements of some kind. So I'd say it's one of their better ones, yes. So like 3.5 to 4 out of 5.
Okay. I
Keeping
think that's fair, Justin.
Keeping it in a reasonable scale.
Okay. All right, Justin, what about
Gary?
you? Yeah, I did a little bit of a predictions episode or predictions short video beforehand, and said that really what Nintendo was going to do here was kind of create a roadmap for us in the next 6 months as we lead up to E3, and that's kind of exactly what they did to help build hype. For me, I give it a 4 out of 5.
How did you completely miss that Battle Royale puzzle game?
I know, right? Battle Royale puzzle game. I think I'm going to be honest with my other predictions. So I think I was about 4 for 5 for actually hitting some pretty good markers there. But I give it a 4 out of 5. I think there was I think to Jesse's point, there was a little bit of something for everyone, right? Like everything wasn't there for me, but there was enough that when I left, that I could say like there's about 4 or 5 things here that I'm super hyped for, or I'm excited about, or that has my interest. Right now, there was a ton that was. Then there's kind of things that are like sort of has my interest, but I think overall it was really well done. I thought the pacing was good. So yeah, no, I was excited for it.
Yeah, and so just to be clear, the latest date that we saw, I believe, was July 26th.
August
correct?
30th. August 30th. For Astral Chains is August 30th.
Astral Chains is August 30th. So let me ask this: with the last, the one more thing at the end that was just 2019, and you just used the interesting phrase there, roadmap.
Yeah.
Do you believe that all of these games that we saw are going to be out before August 30th?
No. Minus the one at the end.
See,
well, there was a few games that didn't.
Let me couch what I'm asking here. In the thing is that I want that game before the end of the year. Like I don't want to wait all year for that game.
Yeah, you need to work on your patience. I think in general, Marty. Like if I was giving you some feedback here on show, your patience is absolutely.
I would take all of these games that were announced during this and push all of them back if Link's Awakening would
sounds
come
like
out.
a certain 11-year-old we know.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder where he gets it from.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2019. I don't know where they're going to put that one, to be honest.
I'd call October.
You think? Yeah, I was thinking end of October. The question of where I don't know they're going to put that is because we don't know where stuff like Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing is. That's the
and Pokemon.
No, we know where Pokemon is. Pokemon is the end of November.
Yeah.
That's they're not moving that window. It's the same window they're going to use every time for every Pokemon.
Well,
Guess what?
I mean, and I don't.
What it was last year is what it will be this year, which will be the year before that, and the year before that, as says the Pokemon gods.
Right. So So did you give us an actual number?
Wobble Puffet?
I did. I said 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Okay, sorry. I thought that you were saying 4 out of 5 as far as your predictions.
Oh, yeah, no.
On the thing.
Oh, that was a 3 out of 5 on that one.
It was 4 out of 5 for both. That he got 4 out of 5 right, and he gave it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
That's how we roll.
Let's kind of just dive right in and dig into the highlights of this direct and talk about some things.
Good. We're going to talk all about. We're we're gonna just talk all about Fire Emblem, right?
Yeah, we sure are. Just like they did. Oh my god.
Kill
Oh,
me.
Yes.
I do want
That
to
was,
take a
that
minute.
was a time when I get a chance to tune out.
I do want to take a minute to kind of dig into when we get to that. Remind me of this, that we had one of our patrons who was actually at the Nintendo New York store while this was going on, and I want to go back and I want to get his reactions and let him talk about what was going on the ground there, because it's actually really interesting what he was talking about. And this is, y'all forgive me, JC Sorrell was there during this. And so I just want to, I think it's interesting, that it's kind of like having an inside man during this time. But let's start out. Nintendo comes out swinging in this direct and hits us with that sweet Super Mario Maker 2 right off the front. And I love the fact that the first thing that they show about this game is, guess what, guys? We figured out slopes.
Yeah, as if they knew the internet had been crying for the entire time.
Oh, that would have been the first thing people asked for, right? But also what I thought was genius about this in the front end is that they immediately showed how it would work with one screen and not two. Because that's been part of the big, like, I guess, overall conversation about Mario Maker and a port of Mario Maker to the Switch was, how's it going to work? Are you going to be able to, do this? How, is there going to be a stylus? Is there going to be a pen? Is it going to be something? No, you're just going to click and drag those elements right there on the screen, and then you can flip back and forth. I would guess by pressing the minus button, kind of like you did, or the plus button, kind of like you did on the Wii U. But I thought this was a fantastic reveal. They start off with it being in Super Mario World. They quickly move to showing that you're also going to have Super Mario Brothers 3 back in, and new to this series, a kind of a 2.5D version of Super Mario 3D World, which at first I didn't realize what that was.
Yeah, no man.
And then all of a sudden I went, oh my God, they put Super Mario 3D World in there. There's Cat Mario. And Cat Mario shows up. But one thing I noticed on a second watch through today of just that part was they have also added in, and maybe this is just like, in the first one, it was New Super Mario Brothers, right? That style that you would click. Now that says New Super Mario Brothers U.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
And our good friend Paul Lloyd over on Twitter he recorded today a 30-minute video analyzing a 1 minute and 30-second teaser for Super Mario Maker 2 and found tons of stuff, including...
Is he trying to compete with Game Explain?
I don't know, but look, y'all know he streamed the crap out of Mario Maker on the Wii, did a great job doing it. He actually found text differences, like text style differences in the video, leading him to believe they were actually showing different builds of the game at different times.
That's great.
That's very possible.
And so, like, tons of stuff here. Other items that were shown in this montage. I'm pulling this right out of Jesse's notes, and he took wind-generating enemies that were shown off, particularly in the ice level. Shiveria in Mario Odyssey. The sun enemy from Super Mario Brothers 3 is in block tracks that can go, do the snake blocks, and you can ride on off switches, diagonal auto-scrolling levels. Super Mario 3D World skins, including the Bell power-up Piranha Vines that allow you to choose the path of its growth, transparent pipes. There's bullet bills coming out of the background.
Yeah. I saw a 10 coin item. I didn't see it when I took the notes, but I saw it in a future later.
There's also
watch.
as they're switching tabs between terrain and enemies and all that, they didn't highlight it specifically, but there's like a key item in one of those blades. There's doors and all kinds of other stuff. Transparent pipes. This game is hitting June 2019. Gentlemen, are y'all as impressed with this as I am? Like, I was blown away I am
Yeah.
super excited for Super Mario Maker.
So I tried to get a stream going of a live reaction, and as soon as it started, I knew this direct was going to be something a little bit different to what I was expecting. And the first question I had was, well, what is going to bookend this direct? Because this is the best opening they could have possibly done. And I got ridiculously excited for Slopes, like way too excited for Slopes. But also the other thing that I was kind of thinking is something that we mentioned before on the show was that I actually felt really bad for Jules and the Tui with Chicken Wiggle because now this is the second time that Mario Maker has been announced as he's releasing Chicken Wiggle, and just before, which is another obviously level builder. But I mean, how did they manage to make Mario Maker so much more epic than it already was? You know?
Yeah.
It's not just... It doesn't look like the sequels that we used to on the Switch so far. Like Splatoon 2 looked like a small incremental jump from Splatoon 1. And a lot of the other games have felt like that as well. If they're like,
Well, they've
like
had
Mario
more
Tennis,
time.
Mario Party. Yeah, but this is huge compared to Mario Maker by the look of it.
Yeah, and that's what I mean is like they've had 2 extra years and some of dev time for this, whereas others were preparing for launch or launch window or first year, right? So, I mean, there's so much about this game, so many questions I have, just right off the jump. I mean, like they've included Luigi on the box art. What does that mean? You know, there's
Two-player play.
Also, the official. We were talking about this before the show. In the official image, there's a Koopa driving a Jeep. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that they're not telling us a lot on purpose, and I think that I honestly think that there's a possibility that it could be 2-player with single Joy-Con as well.
Oh, that would be good. Like
especially with the 3D world stuff being in there. Yeah.
Co-op building. Well, wasn't that a feature in Mario Maker?
No, I think it was on 3DS actually. Yeah, you could
start a level and somebody could finish it.
Yeah. I think the one things so first, and we've mentioned a couple times, I'm happy that other people are happy for this. Do you know what I mean? Like I know that the internet was so excited for this, and that Paul Lloyd. Big shout out to him. Huge fan of our show, huge supporter, big fan of him. Was just like over the hype moon, and he has been like keeping Mario Maker alive like forever. That's his touchstone, his dream. And interestingly enough, like when Mario Maker came out from Nintendo, like when it first came out, we did like a Nintendo Dad's challenge to Marty, in the Reactor Radio. So I think Mario Maker is such a great game. Now for me, like I'll pick it up, obviously, right? It's kind of like Smash. I'll pick it up because everyone's going to play it and there's going to be something good there. It's one of those things that I'm more excited about what the community can create. I'm not a great builder. I'm not good at that, but I love the fact that they bundle in levels. Now, for me, I'm going to be really honest with you. I know I'm going to get it, but the thing that would have like sold me, that would have pushed me over. Does anyone know what the one thing would have pushed me over that I have not seen?
Labo support.
No, shut your mouth. Move on. Go home. You're drunk. Anyone?
No.
Super Mario 2. Where is my Super Mario? And I know, and like, here's the thing. Could you imagine, because it's the same day they did the update for Super Mario 2 in the NES platform to do that. You give me that, I'm like, now here's the thing. They may reveal it at other things and other directs, right? Potentially that's possible. But that's the one thing that I'm like, if you give me that, I'm done. Son. Do you know what I mean?
And Justin, that's a great point. And they made a very explicit point during this launch trailer or launch announcement, whatever, teaser, to not show you swapping between styles.
Yes. Yeah, they did. Yeah, well, but I do think you're right. Like, the thing that did interest me about this, and again, I think about it from like a business perspective. It is so interesting that they announced this game literally 1 month after they have announced or released Super Mario Brothers Ultimate Deluxe. Do you know what I mean? Because now this game, like if you'd put the reverse order, no one would have bought the other one, essentially, right? Because it is exact. Like you don't need another 2D. You don't need to release another 2D platform Mario game because you just did that of infinity.
Do you think this game got moved up?
I doubt
Because you really raise a good point there. That Metroid Prime 4 is going to slip. We got to have something.
There may have been a bit of a shuffle, but I mean, for it to be saying it's the June game, right? So this is the E3. This will be released the same week as E3, just like last year it was Tennis. The year before that it was Arms. So the interesting part of that then means that they're not going to spend a lot of their time on their E3 about this. Because it'll be already either released.
I think we'll get a Mario Maker Direct.
Do I think it was moved up? I think that they may have accelerated briefly. Like they may have said maybe it was going to be a September game, but we're making it a June game instead, right? But I don't think it was enough to like really shuffle the cards. I do think that the delay of Metroid is why this Direct was delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it forced them to reshuffle their cards and understand what they're pushing and where they're pushing and kind of realign. And I mean, we even saw as he mentioned in the Direct, and we're going to move off of Mario Maker soon here, folks. The delay in Fire Emblem, right, being pushed to July. I think that would have been a May game essentially. But I digress. Let's keep going.
Yeah, speaking of that, let's go ahead and move on. From there, we moved into a series of kind of rapid fire headlines from this Direct. The first thing that they showed off was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, which again is a Nintendo Switch exclusive. And let me just say this. When they first announced this, I was sold because it's Marvel, because I just love Marvel superheroes, and especially the movies, and it looks like they're kind of leaning on a lot of the movie designs and things. After seeing the trailer for this and actually seeing gameplay going on, holy crap, I cannot wait for this game to come out. 4-player local online, 4-player local or online co-op, getting to play as Guardians of the Galaxy, getting to play as X-Men, which, by the way, very disappointed that Marvel did not allow X-Men to be in the last Lego Marvel superheroes. But now that they're kind of owning the rights, they're bringing them back in, right? Yeah. So Avengers, everybody's in this game. It looks great. It looks like a ton of fun. It's going to, of course, it's going to be arcadey, button mashy goodness, right?
This reminded me, and I had seen the release at the Game Awards as well, the trailer for it. But this kind of, when I watched the Nintendo Direct for it, made me kind of like, I was like, is this essentially like Diablo, just with Marvel heroes? Like
essentially,
it's 4-player on, like 4-player local online.
The gameplay looks similar to what I remembered from previous Ultimate Alliance games.
Yeah, if you've played any of the other Ultimate Alliance games, then they were on consoles before Diablo was, and they were kind of Diablo when consoles couldn't get Diablo.
Sure. Yeah, it just kind of reminded me of that, and I think it's interesting, like in a world where Diablo does now exist, to kind of look at it, I was like, and again, I just kind of looked at it, I was like, oh, that looks very Diablo-ish.
It's kind of like, and Justin will understand this when I'm talking about this. Like, there's a board game that my family loves to play. It's called Codenames.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever played that one, but now there's a Codenames, and basically what it is like there's this grid of words, and you're trying to get your partners to guess the words without saying them. You have to give clues.
So it's password
that will lead.
Probably didn't have the rights to it.
And so there's now a Marvel version of this game, right? Yeah. That uses like cards that instead of words, they're pictures of Marvel characters. So you would have to like get them to guess the Hulk or get them. That was actually the first thing I thought of when Justin started comparing it to Diablo. It's like, oh yeah, this is Marvel Diablo version or Diablo Marvel version.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still now. Then I'm not saying take anything away from it from them. I don't want to speak negatively back because I'm hyped for the game.
Yeah.
But like I think this would be a great game to have a demo for.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about demos later on because there's a ton that came out of this Direct. But just give me the first level, or give me part of the first level. Let me play a couple characters, and the appeal of the original games was getting to pair up Marvel characters who'd never been paired up before, or briefly. Like I can have a team that has Hulk and Wolverine and Star-Lord and
sure.
But now that we've had 2 Civil War arcs in the comics, everybody is paired off with everybody at some point.
Right. I still think this is going to sell a ton for Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo and Marvel, I think it'll go well.
Oh, yeah.
After this, speaking of games that'll be interesting to see how the sales numbers are, Box Boy and Box Girl.
I got a little too excited for this game.
Really?
When they showed it. Oh yeah, I am all about it. I love these games on the 3DS, and I think this is the perfect evolution of Box Boy.
Now, again, this is not a remake, but this is a new addition to the actual series. So if you're like, I have Box Boy, all the Box Boys on 3DS, which is what I do. This is an addition. This is not a.
So you're
remake.
a fan as well.
Yeah, I like the simple puzzle solving mechanics of it. It was part of my jam. I was definitely excited to see it, show up.
When they first started talking about it, I was like, they're about to drop this right now. And I was kind of disappointed when they didn't.
Yeah.
Soon.
So I'm actually a fan of Box Boy as well. It's something I've actually been playing recently. As you guys know, I still play my 3DS quite a lot. Yeah, I was actually speaking with my brother before the direct, and I was like, you know what? I've got a feeling they'll release the Box Boy trilogy, port it over. This is much better. I prefer a new game to a port, so I'm extremely happy with this.
You and a lot of people.
For those of you from a parenting perspective who are kind of like, what is it? And you maybe saw the trailer, Box Boy or Box Boy plus Box Girl would be a great example of a game that you could probably play with your kids, probably first early levels together, I would imagine. There's a little bit of a bit of problem solving, puzzle solving, and then probably like, hey, the kids go to bed, you're with your spouse or your partner, you'd be like, hey, let's do this together, the more complicated ones. So this is probably a really good introduction to some potential complex problem solving for games. So I'd recommend putting this one on your docket. Typically, also they're cheap games. They're not. This won't be like
I don't expect $30. Did they say anything? They didn't say anything specifically about a physical release for this, correct?
No, I don't think so.
I honestly feel like it'll probably be digital only.
Yeah, probably.
And I mean, but with 240 level or 270 stages, which was one of the big things that they touted during this, you're probably looking at like $14.99, maybe $19.99. I don't see it getting more than $20 though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which would be good. Another thing that they announced during this, Super Smash Brothers, and this surprised the heck out of me, y'all. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate 3.0 update is already on its way. It will be available before the end of April and will include Joker, who is the very first character of the DLC pack. And the way that they talked about this, it didn't make it seem like it would just be Joker. Like, oh, here's 3.0, now you can play as Joker. It made it seem like it's going to be a pretty substantial update by the fanfare that they gave it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was kind of reading some articles about kind of like what people are speculating, and actually they made a really good point that they were saying, what it actually could be is a level designer. Might be one of the biggest additions to it. And
I back from the Wii U version.
That's exactly missing from the Wii U version. So that could be a big one now. Obviously, when we think of, especially on the kind of the hot on the heels of Super Mario Maker, I think traditionally be like, well, how could they have done a level designer in it was best for the Wii U because it was easy, right? The gamepad, the stylus, there you go. But I think now that we saw how Super Mario Maker is using it for their method.
Did the Wii U even have the level maker? I know it was in the Wii version, but I thought they took it out of the Wii U.
I don't know for sure, but I think
somebody correct us.
Yeah, somebody in our chat.
Pretty sure that was something in the Wii version.
We may be.
But essentially, what I'm saying there is, I think that's a now knowing how they're doing it for Super Mario Maker, I wouldn't be shocked if that methodology is being used in this as well. So yeah, I think
hope that it's home run contest.
Really?
I missed the sandbag.
Okay.
Epic Waffles in the chat says Wii U did also have it. I guess that's something my son never played with.
Okay. So. Well, so that's coming out. A lot of people very excited to play as Joker. I do think that during this portion of the direct, we actually got our first look at what Joker will look like in Smash. When they talked about him, they showed a character model. It definitely looked closer to like Smash style art than say Persona style art.
See, and I thought that actually looked more like the amiibo. A very close up of the back end of the amiibo. Just my own
I need to
opinion.
go,
But
Is there
I
a
need to go back
difference?
and look at it again.
I don't know. But yeah, it was. Again, great to hear. We shouldn't be shocked that we're going to start getting this more information about Smash, or that it's coming quickly. Remember, they're giving us 10 characters, right, in a very short amount of time. Five characters in like 12 months. So, I mean, I suspect we're going to get another reveal soon, right? Probably before E3, and then
I was really thinking it would be during this direct.
Oh, another reveal. I was actually too. That was one of my predictions. So.
Though this kind of 3.0 update news was out of left field, what they came up with next was really out of left field. Nintendo fans, we've been asking for DLC for some early Switch titles for a while, but I bet that you probably didn't think that Captain Toad Treasure Tracker would get DLC before Mario Kart 8. But here it is. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker has now been given a free update, which adds 2-player co-op to all the levels. It was available during the Direct or right after the Direct. But also available is Captain Toad Special Mission, which adds 18 new challenges and 5 new courses. One of those courses was available at the end of the Direct. In fact, it was free, I believe. But then for $4.99, you can purchase the DLC, and the remaining courses will be added to the game on March 14th.
Oh, was that free? I don't own the game, so I couldn't verify it, but I took it as if you bought the DLC, you get the one course right away, and then the rest comes in March.
That's probably, you're probably right. I think I was mistaken about that. Yeah, you got the one course that day, or as soon as you purchase the DLC.
Like the Zelda DLC, on day one, you get the stupid shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I
Switch shirt.
I finished the game in that shirt. That was awesome.
So it was so in place, and the whole. And any of you guys, I have Captain Toad on the Switch because we got a review copy of it. But have any of you guys picked this up?
Yeah, I picked up Captain Toad as well when it came out originally, and I have already updated mine to include the co-op mode, and I have purchased the DLC.
Have you been able to try that co-op mode yet?
I have not yet. It was actually part of my intention tonight, but my wife was not feeling very well, so we did not do that. But I think this is so this is interesting, right? There was already conversation before that the new president was saying we want to talk about how we use DLC and to incorporate DLC. He was encouraging DLC for games that were existing. And I think this is their first kind of actual kick at what that might look like. I thought the pricing was reasonable. I thought it was available now, making some easy changes or updates to the system or the game. I think it's fine. It'd be interesting to see what the sale through rate is on it. I don't know if they'll actually publish that. They typically don't. But again, how do you kind of continue to leverage existing content and get it out there for players? So I thought it was really cool.
This is a game that I think, though, has a lot of charm for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so while this is a little bit out of left field, I don't think it completely doesn't make sense, right? I mean, when you can take a very short dev time and make a few more puzzle box levels for a game that will maybe even cause it to sell more, why not? Yeah. Right?
I mean, this is one announcement that had me absolutely screaming because I too have Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, but unlike you guys, I chose to pick it up on the 3DS.
Well, we all make decisions in life.
So now this has changed my mind on the 3DS. This game alone has changed my mind that if something is out on both platforms, I will never get it on the 3DS now. Mm-hmm. And my decision in buying it on the 3DS was this game is finished. It's been finished before. It's just basically a port. They've added new levels. Nothing else is going to happen to it. And then this happens. So, I'm so gutted because this looks just amazing. Like two-player co-op on it is just something that it should have had from the get-go on the Switch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a perfect update for it, really.
And this we go back to a parenting perspective. If you have not picked up Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, especially now with this code, before they already had a great accessibility with kind of 2-player helping support shoot turnips and stuff like that. But now with actually 2-player beside each other co-op, this is a great example of gaming with your kids. Super approachable, nice little puzzle boxes to solve.
Absolutely charming.
Yeah, it's got all the right stuff. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't picked this up, this is definitely one to add to your list.
And currently 30% off in the East also.
Yeah, exactly. 30% off, and you can get the extra levels, and they have Super Mario Odyssey levels from that other time. So
just for the sake of having this out here too, the DLC is $4.99.
Yeah, it's not super expensive. Again, I think
it's like an extra $5 here in the US. So I mean, that's for 5 new levels. And I'm not entirely sure. Like, unpack that statement of 18 new challenges and 5 new courses. What does that mean? Is it's only 5 new levels, including the one that you get for buying the DLC?
Here, I'll do some quick research. Hold on. Let me do some research as we move on.
We'll loop back around to that. I did want to hit on this title. Not much to say about it, but just something real quickly. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night was shown off. This is like the spiritual successor to Castlevania that Igarashi has done through Kickstarter. It is finally going to release in summer of 2019. I have mixed feelings on this. I mean, I'm cool with it being a 2D, platformer and everything and all that. It does look very like there's they showed off like a customizable aspect to it, where you can change your character's hair color and different things like that. And they showed like how the cutscenes are going to kind of have characters interacting with each other, full voice and all that. But on the other hand, it's more Symphony of the Night than it is Castlevania 4. And I just don't like Symphony of the Night.
Last year's Bloodstained was your Castlevania 3, Castlevania 4 type of game.
Yeah. I mean, and I enjoyed that one, and I knew that this was not going to be that style. I knew it was going to be more of the Metroidvania or Castleroids style. We got to get that going, man. Castleroids. But it's there for people who are hyped for it. I will say this about it. To me, it looked kind of clunky. It didn't look like it flowed very well.
I will say this, and then I think we should move on. As a Kickstarter supporter of this one, I would just like it out.
Yeah, you totally got Mighty Number 9 on this one.
Yeah,
I hate it for you.
I paid for this 3 years ago. Yeah. So, and I'm not even a huge Castlevania fan, but I thought I would. This was my first support of a Kickstarter, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
You know what? What kind of grinds the gears on that just a little bit more is that Team Cherry announced today that all Kickstarter backers for Hollow Knight are getting the Hollow Knight sequel, Silk Road, for free.
Free, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
right. Let's see what else we got.
On. I do want to do a little aside here. Because they did start in this part of the direct to move more toward a certain direction. They began to talk about Dragon Quest, and they did 2 back-to-back Dragon Quest announcements. One of those was Dragon Quest Builders 2. The other was Dragon Quest 11S, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. And yes, that is the whole title of the game.
I'm glad you said it. Thank you, because I spent the time to type it.
Our man on the ground, J.C. Sorrell, said this. He said, this is where he first chimed in and said he was at Nintendo New York. And this was his comment at the NYC Nintendo store watching this. All the energy has been gone since Dragon Quest announcements started.
Oh.
So let's just talk about this, though. Dragon Quest Builders, they showed a trailer of it. They showed some of the things you're going to be able to do with it, including first-person mode for combat and traveling around in the world. It did actually look really good. The graphics are fantastic on this. Visuals are great. I love Dragon Quest Builders. This just looks to build on it even more, and it's going to come out here in or wide release. I think it's already out in Japan, right?
Yeah.
So it's already on.
I
on the
think
Switch
I think
Japan.
both games came in a combo pack in Japan.
Oh, okay. So this is a North American release, probably European release as well, close to July 12th, 2019. They didn't spend as much time on that though as they spent on Dragon Quest 11. Jesse, I know you love this game and I know you love this series, but my gosh, this is the segment that would not end.
See, that's what I thought about the game that they talked about after the second set of headlines.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to that here in a minute. Just real quick, Jesse, you're obviously a fan of Dragon Quest. You've talked about it along the show. Tell us about this. Are you excited for this game? I know you've waited to play it, right, on the Switch?
I have. I wanted to play it on the Switch, so I didn't buy the PS4 version. I was actually tempted to rent it just to get a taste of it, but the rental store near me didn't have that game. So I still have yet to play it, but what I've seen, it looks good. I've heard people say it's probably the best Dragon Quest since 8, if not better than 8. And then they showed that the 2D sprites mode is in this version.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was the feature of the 3DS version that was Japan only and not coming over. So I'm glad they kept that in a version that we're getting on the side.
What we're referring to in this moment is you can freely swap back and forth between completely 3D world and 3D characters, or to a 2D world with 2D sprites and a 2D map. Yeah, just like old school SNES RPGs.
Right. So it'll be, so in 3D it'll look like what Dragon Quest 8 looks like. In the 2D will look more like Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah. And I had to admit that was cool. I'm really not jazzed about this game, but like you said earlier, there's things there. And Justin, I think, said this about Marvel Ultimate Alliance, or no, what did you say this about, Justin? Mario Maker. Like, you're excited for the people that are really thrilled about this.
Yeah.
You might pick it up. You don't know, but it's not one of those tent peg things for you. For Jesse, this is a tent pole game.
That's exactly it. And again, I bust Jesse's chops about pretty much everything. But I'm, and this is definitely nowhere in my interest. But I was like, again, and I saw it, I was like, man, I really hope this is what Jesse wants, because that was important to me. Because Jesse, I love you.
Thank you.
If there was any point in this direct though where I feel like Nintendo maybe was a little off tonally for their presentation, this was the beginning of that. There was a section of this direct that didn't feel like it fit with the rest of it, and I think that Dragon Quest 11 and you're saying here, like JC was saying, it just sucked the energy out of the room at Nintendo New York. I don't think that means that people aren't excited for this game. I just don't think it's going to have as wide an audience as Nintendo might even hope that it has.
Dragon Quest games have always been niche in the West. It's mainstream in Japan, but it hasn't caught on with. But 8 I think sold the best, if I remember right, in the West. Mm-hmm. And 8, 7, and 8 I believe both did well on the 3DS. So hopefully this kind of gets up again.
Yeah.
And maybe there are more people like me that are waiting for the Switch version. I'm not sure.
Yeah. From there, they went into another section of headlines. We'll go through these really quick because they did too, and there's really not a lot here to talk about.
This one's a head scratcher.
I don't even know why this was in the direct.
I do. I completely understand it.
Disney Tsum Tsum Festival.
Yes.
Is coming out in 2019. It's basically Mario
Party. Is a Tsum Tsum a thing?
Tsum Tsums are these little things that look like beans, but they're Disney characters. I've
never heard of them before.
Oh, God, they're terrible. Disney Tsum Tsum Festival coming out in 2019 for the Switch. It's basically Mario Party with Disney Tsum Tsums, and it also has, I guess, a recreation of the Tsum Tsum mobile game. Which, if you ever played Yokai Watch Wibble Wobble, the app Yokai Watch Wibble Wobble, it's basically the same thing. You link up Tsum Tsums, you pop them, more come in, you try to do it in a certain number of moves.
Yeah, that looked interesting. Gary, it wasn't grid-based, it was more physics-based.
Yeah,
So I thought that looked
Gary,
weird.
Tell us why was this included in Direct?
One thing I wanted from the direct was something for my daughter. This is totally that game. This I would pick up over Mario Party because I know that with Mario Party she won't understand some of the controls and some of the games. This looks the complete opposite to that. It looks like it's perfect for young girls, young boys.
I really hate to admit this, but like we were watching the Direct, my children and I were watching the Direct together. She was not engaged in the whole time, but when a Tsum Tsum popped up on the screen, she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Tsum Tsums!"
Okay, so
Girl Squad from Homestar Runner, and she was like, "We've got to get this. We've got to get this game. Please tell me you'll buy me this game." Yeah, we're getting it.
So
we're getting it.
As we were saying about Jesse likes the Dragon Quest, which a lot of us don't. I'm not going to say that I really like some because that's not true. But this game is out there for people. There's people who are going to absolutely adore this game for what it is, and I think that it's there for a reason. I think it's a good breakdown of pace in the direct, showing that there is something for the entire family. So I think it's kind of important, And I mean, for me, the Marvel Alliance game, I was probably the game that I could care the least about in this entire presentation. And I'm sure people are going to think that about this. For me, it's the complete opposite way around. This is actually probably mid-tier for me. It's a game that I'm interested in.
Okay. Well, but you have a daughter that's there. You want her to be interested in video games. Obviously, that's why you would be interested in this.
Yeah, she's been a bit ill lately, so I haven't shown her this direct or some of the games, but I know her face is going to light up when she sees this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my little 10-year-old girl was the same way. Starlink Battle for Atlas is getting a free update coming up very soon. Star Fox characters, it's all Star Fox related too, by the way. It's nothing from the original story. Star Fox characters are going to get their own story missions and skill trees. This is going to hit in April of 2019.
So does this mean it's a Switch exclusive, or is Star Fox also available in the other ones?
This is a Switch exclusive. You are hunting down the members of the Star Wolf team. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I wonder, Gary, since you are a Starlink collector, are we going to get pilots of Slippy, Falco, and Peppy?
I would actually say that if they do, they'll do them just pilots as a collection. I'm really curious as to whether they would or not, though, because the physical side of it is pretty much non-existent anymore.
Yeah, I think they realized that was a bad idea.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a strange one. Now, Starlink's been getting little updates here and there anyway. I would say that this will land at the same time as an update for the game in general anyway. But the Star Fox thing is definitely welcome because for anyone who didn't play Starlink and is interested, and mainly just for the Star Fox stuff, what was in there was incredibly short for Star Fox. Yeah. So this is more than welcome, and maybe it was something that I wanted to put in it originally, but
it is still the best HD Star Fox experience that has existed.
I would argue that it's actually one of the best Star Foxes ever. Anyway, but this, Star Fox needs its own basically Starlink spin-off. They need to just do Star Fox as a Starlink game next time.
Here's what I'm going to say from this, and I've kind of kicked this idea around when Starlink first came out. Nintendo could score a lot of points with a lot of people and do a lot of good by simply offloading the Star Fox franchise to Ubisoft at this point.
Yep, I agree.
Let them have it. If you want to bring them in, let them do all the Star Fox games, be done with it.
But that could also backfire because Platinum made the best Star Fox level, and then they had Star Fox Zero and it didn't work out. Because Bayonetta 2, if you're using the Fox costume, has the best R-Wing level probably ever.
I've not gotten there yet because I haven't finished Bayonetta 2, but it's in my backlog, which is ever growing.
Just keep the Fox costume on for
Okay, I got it.
And I would say for those of you who are kind of like maybe, we talked about Starlink before in the past, and I think, Gary has been a huge fan of it. You can now find Starlink, and I think even for the actual physical bundle for about $20. So if I would definitely say, I'm not I would definitely say it's worth it. If you can find it for like $20, it is definitely well worth it. The content, the presentation, the game is actually really, really good, and I think they did a fantastic job of it. Not even just from the Starlink or Star Fox perspective, but the game is actually really, really good.
Just
so
overall,
I'd highly
it's
recommend
a great package.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
I probably would have say it was well worth it at 40, but if you can find it for cheap, it's even better.
Yeah, I mean, save yourself some money, right?
I'd like to see what the sales number is on that game, Switch versus other consoles.
Yeah,
I think they announced that it was higher Switch, but go ahead.
Yeah, Switch definitely sold higher. They also announced right after this Rune Factory 4 special, which is some kind of weird JRPG marriage simulator. I don't even I'm gonna be honest with you. I was watching this and I still don't even know what went on.
Yeah, I don't even know what Rune Factory games are.
Keep moving.
Yep. Rune Factory 5 is also in development, if that's a thing. They also announced another JRPG coming to the Switch called Oninaki. This is a Square Enix game. Was this a Switch exclusive?
I don't remember it's saying, but I could be wrong.
Basically, in that one, you've got to save the world where people are turning into monsters or Oni. They didn't maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds on it. I will mention during this that JC said crowd was dead, energy back now with the next game announcement, which was Yoshi. Yoshi's Crafted World. They popped in very quickly to hype the March 29th release date. Also to drop some news on some cardboard vehicle-ish costumes. These are basically the Yarn Yoshis of the game. If you remember Yarn Yoshis from Woolly World, where you could design your own or you could collect them from the levels, this time it's going to be like cardboard armor and different things that will make Yoshi look like different characters. There's even a Labo set that makes him look like he's inside a Labo piano. So there's the Labo integration for this game that I predicted.
Oh, no.
But the biggest news from this was that a demo is now available for Yoshi's Crafted World, and we're going to talk about that demo later on in the show.
I think we should talk about right now, super quick, because we're there.
You want to do it? Okay, so in a word, brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Also, 4-year-olds love it. Confirmed.
Oh, it's not only is it beautiful, it plays smooth. It's amazing. They've added this new mechanic now of being able to shoot eggs into the background and the foreground. They showed that off during the kind of the highlight reel that they did during this. The demo gives you one level, but tons of ways to play it. You can play through it like a traditional Yoshi game. If you beat the level, the Poochie Pups show up, and then you can play the level in reverse, trying to find them. And then there's also like a cow collection challenge where you hit cardboard cows with eggs. Unfortunately, like the unfortunate part of it is there was only one level, right? Yeah. So the wait for March 29th is going to be kind of long, but man, I love the creativity that they've put into these last couple of years. Justin's turned into Max Headroom all of a sudden.
Wow, Jesse, please resample
that. Can you hear us, Justin?
Hold on. I muted him, but now I can't unmute him.
Hang on, Justin.
Okay, Justin, I'm going to remove you from the call and then have you call you back.
Tuple. I think that should be the title of the show this week.
I do as well. You got to leave. Please, Jesse, don't edit that
out. Why is it that at like an hour into every podcast, Justin's internet craps the bed?
Oh,
I don't know.
It's like, I've had enough. I'm done.
Tuple.
I'm trying to call him back and he's not answering.
It couldn't handle all the Yoshi goodness.
That's it. Do you know what it is? Brexit's happened. We've cut off Ireland. We're on our own now.
It's officially happened.
It's
In the middle of the night, you physically cut Ireland off.
Yeah, they couldn't agree the island backstop, and that's it. It's done.
Oh my gosh. You know, I'm half expecting some like weird shadow Nintendo news here in the middle of the night. Is that terrible?
Labo piano confirmed for Yoshi.
Brand new Labo kit confirmed at midnight. You know, I totally just now realized that tomorrow is the drop date of the new set of Amiibo.
Yeah.
I wish you could hear what we're hearing.
What sort of glitch is that?
I don't know.
I think he's going to have to restart his computer.
Oh, his mic is holding on to that. Every time he puts his mic in there,
Oh, I'm too tired for this. So, I have an Ice Climber amiibo that says it's going to be here tomorrow at 8 p.m. and it hasn't even left the warehouse yet.
Oh, this really shouldn't have been as fun as it was. I've given up on the amiibo, if I'm being completely honest. I really wanted Piranha Plant, but I didn't want to spend the money on it.
Right. Now, here's the fun thing. Going to my Amazon orders, it says arriving by 8 p.m. Track package, it says it's arriving at 11 p.m. tomorrow night. I kid you not, if UPS comes to my house tomorrow night at 11 o'clock with a freaking Ice Climber amiibo, somebody make a shot. Country, y'all.
Right. Yeah, they got dispatched in Nintendo UK on Wednesday. No, Tuesday, I think it was. So, yeah. I mean, amiibos have a tendency to turn up early as well.
I ended up paying out the nose for Piranha Plant because I missed him on Amazon. Yeah. And I had to get it from GameStop. And instead of like just allowing me to pick it up at the local GameStop store, which, you know, would make sense, they insisted that they ship it to me.
Like $10.
So $27 for an amiibo.
See, this is why I'm out the amiibo game, because it's all heartbreak. There's no success stories with it. It's all heartbreak.
Well, I've got the new round pre-ordered, but it's
Justin, there's something going on with your computer.
I'm gonna end the call and start it all over. See if that does anything.
Okay.
So, I'll be right back. I'm gonna kill my Skype. We should all kill our Skypes and start them up again.
Bye. I'm gonna get a cup of coffee.
Okay.
Right.
I'm gonna kill my Skype and start it over.
That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So hold on a minute. Quit Skype. Relaunch Skype. It's still doing it. I don't know what to do. Well, he got back in contact with me on the old call, and it was still doing it. So hopefully this new call will fix that.
Oh my gosh, what in the world is going on? I never had Skype do something like that.
No, I've never seen this before.
It's crazy. So did that mean that we had to end our like our YouTube stream as well?
No, that's still going.
Tuple.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. What? Justin, are you there?
Are you able to hear us at all? Because I have to mute you. Okay. Still doing it. I don't know why.
Like, if he can hear this, I think you were saying 2-player, and anytime we unmute you, even though we've started a new call, all we hear from your end is tuple. It's still doing it, Gary.
So there's tuples confirmed.
No,
that has to be the name of the show. Tuples confirmed. Really has to be.
I think Justin, I think you're going to have to restart your computer.
Yeah, I think so.
This is going to be.
I'm gonna do a quick Google search for tuples and see what comes up.
Isn't it the fish from Shovel Knight? The Tuple King?
I don't know.
Oh, hang on. Tuples is an actual thing.
Tuples are a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Tuple.
It's a data structure consisting of multiple parts.
A what?
A data structure consisting of multiple parts.
A tuple. There you go.
So there you go. I mean, Justin wasn't talking nonsense. Is this related searches? Tuples Python. Tuples flowers.
Oh man.
All right. So are we back?
Yes.
Yay!
Okay.
There you go. There's
Do you know what was going on?
There's the tuple formula.
I don't, but I'm currently on my mobile device as opposed to my actual laptop. So let's continue through, shall we?
Okay. That was the absolute weirdest thing I've ever. Like we restarted Skype, we started a new call, you came back, it's still saying the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I believe you were about to say something about 2-player.
Yeah, I was just saying that through Yoshi as well, there's some 2-player options. Again, fantastic for parents and kids. If you have not, go check out the demo. Make sure you have the demo. It is well worth it. Yeah. So let's keep moving.
It'll sell you on the game. I believe it will sell a lot of people in the game. Perfect game that they needed to have a demo for, by the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of demos, and we would mention this later on, but I'll just throw this out. There's also a brand new demo for Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, that is out on the eShop right now. There is an individual demo for each game, so you can choose which one you would like to try. You can try Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. I have not tried those demos because I own the game, didn't really see the need in it, but I'm sure probably just an introduction to the mechanics and what it means to catch Pokemon and different things like that. But I thought that was really cool that they put that demo out as well. That was announced earlier on in the week. From Yoshi's Crafted World, Nintendo moved on in this direct to talk about Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is now, as we alluded to earlier in the show, going to be available on July 26th, 2019. Nintendo apologizing here for the slight delay. Again, another delay, which really, I mean, we could spend some time talking about this, but we won't. Kind of not a good look for them right now during this season. But I did see a comment on another forum earlier today about this particular issue. And they said that when you combine this with Metroid Prime 4 and all, kind of the loose dates that they have for some of their bigger games, it's easy to see why they lowered the console sell-through forecast.
Mm-hmm.
And I read that and I was like, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think they kind of knew what was coming. Now, like we were kind of critical. Lots of people have been kind of critical about why did they do that? Why did they lower the sales forecast? Now we know.
It makes sense. And you got to
now.
think. I mean, Fire Emblem's not the biggest seller in the West, but in Japan, It's the rage, like it really is. So
Yeah.
So it makes complete sense.
So
I think Fire Emblem is more popular here than Dragon Quest.
Yeah, let's dive into this. Basically, they took the lid off of what Fire Emblem Three Houses is going to be. The story is that you are recruited at a monastery to train your choice of heroes from one of three houses that exist in this world. The monastery kind of exists in the middle of the map, and you're going to interact with different characters from different regions and different kingdoms as well. So you're playing kind of a different role in this game, whereas before you're kind of commanding the forces on the battlefield. And yes, you're doing that during this game. You also are going to be taking them during off time when you're not in the middle of a mission and training them and helping them to level up and do different things and learn different skills, as well as acquire different relationship ranks and different things like that. I gotta admit that like the first thought that came into my mind, and I'm kind of an on-off Fire Emblem fan. Like, I enjoy the idea of Fire Emblem, but I've never finished a Fire Emblem game. I've bought all of them because that's what I do. I play them until I just lose interest. But the first thought that I had when I saw this game was, this looks completely overwhelming.
I think, I'm a Fire Emblem fan. I'm probably the biggest Fire Emblem fan out of the lot of the Nintendo dads. And I think that the pacing is always hard to portray in any sort of showcase for RPGs in general. I mean, it was the same when Xenoblade was shown. It's because the stories are a little too complex to brush over quite fast. And being honest, even I lost interest at this part of the presentation a little bit, like mainly with the story parts. I think just showcasing what the game does would have been a better thing than going on about 5 minutes about, well, this is an army and this is an army, and sooner or later they're going to fight, because we know what's going to happen, right? And they went into some of the complex details of this game, and I think as a showcase, it was a bit of a bad showing to stick where they did in the presentation. However, it has not killed my excitement for this game in the slightest. I think this is going to be probably one of my top tier games of the year. Really looking forward to it. It's cool how they've actually got it looking like there's armies fighting now, which is supposed to be what's going on in Fire Emblem. Except you only normally see 20, 30 characters.
I did notice that there's been some user interface upgrades, but also like the battles going on around you when you have one unit facing off against another one. Yeah,
so I'm really looking forward to this game, and I hope it does incredibly well.
I feel like this is one of those series, though, Gary, that the people that are going to buy it already are going to buy it.
Yeah. Completely agree.
Like, it's not something that you really have to go on a direct and like make some huge pitch to sell. There's like Jesse said, there's a subsection of people. This is more popular than Dragon Quest here. The Fire Emblem folks are this, they're going to buy this. It's not really going to matter what you do. You might catch a few strays by spending time on it during a direct, but it kind of felt like this, like you said, like the Xenoblade one, where it's like, hi, I'm a big dragon and people live on my back. And it's, who cares? Just show the game.
I was actually expecting this to take up more of the direct as well. And I'm glad it didn't. I'm really glad it didn't, because I was worried that it was going to go on for too long. I think it was just about the right length, but just a bit slow on its messaging portrayal. But the thing is, I don't think that is going to sell it to many people. I don't think their showing of it is going to sell it to many people.
I think that part of what made it feel awkward is how much time they spent on Dragon Quest XI.
Yeah,
and then to spend time on this as well. But in kind of, I think this might be kind of a bad omen for this game. JC, again, who was at the Nintendo New York store, said that there were about 150 people there watching. and that when they moved on from Fire Emblem, they literally cheered in the store.
Wow.
Yeah, some of us in the chat are kind of picking on this as well. Third Strongest Mole says the whole school thing just opens up the door to so many anime tropes. I asked,
it's Hogwarts in Fire Emblem. That's all it is.
I said, what's the over-under for a bathhouse scene? And Ian says 200%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So this is going to be out on July 26th, and I would honestly expect that it'll get its own direct before we are done. I mean, they've done Fire Emblem Heroes directs.
I don't think it's going to.
You don't think
no.
we're going to hear any more in depth about this?
We probably will.
I think we're going to get something.
I hope not.
Here's
why I hope, and Justin, here's why I hope that we hear something about it before now, because if not, they're going to spend a lot of time on it at E3.
That's a good point. And I appreciate that Gary is our diversity hire and that he enjoys Fire Emblem.
You know, like I say, I'm really going to look forward to this game, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to see any more of it. I think I'm going to get it anyway, and I'm sold.
Yeah.
I worry that they're going to over message this game, because it's Fire Emblem's complex. Fire Emblem can be very complex. And I don't want them to overdo it. I don't want them to overdo the messaging. They need to show fun parts, not the in-depth like marriage and kids and all that sort of stuff.
Well, it's going to happen. It's coming.
I think we've spent more time on this Fire Emblem than we should have.
Probably. Yeah, let's move on. Crazy Shadow Drop that came right after this, as they go into headlines part 3, is my personal game of the entire direct, except for what they teased for later on. I'm hopelessly addicted right now to Tetris 99, which is an absolutely free to download game let's say this, it's free to download and use for those who have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription. It is the battle royale game that I never knew I wanted or needed, but oh my gosh, it's awesome. It's battle royale Tetris, you versus 99 other players, seeing who can survive to number 1 playing Tetris. It's fantastic. I love it. I love everything about it. It was either last week or the week before last on the show. I want to say it's last week that I talked about how the Switch has such a drought of puzzle games.
Yeah, last week. Yeah.
That's not what my Switch log says.
Yeah, then all of a sudden it's we get Captain Toad and we get Box Boy and we get Tetris. I love it. It's fantastic.
Now, I assume we've all been playing this game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So much fun.
It is. It's really addictive.
Easy to jump into.
This is the game that nobody A, asked for, B, expected, but C, everyone is loving at the minute. And it's making the £20 a year online subscription well worth it now. I mean, I would have paid that money just for this on its own.
Well, and that's the argument that I'm hearing a lot of people make online, is that this is now justify the 20. And I was like, really? This game? This is the game. This is the game that not the fact that
if Smash didn't do it, this game does it.
Yeah.
I mean, who needs a third NES game every month there, right, Marty?
This totally softens the blow of that. I will say though that Tetris DS before this, like the Tetris DS, the Nintendo theme one, was definitely my favorite version of Tetris, but this has dethroned it.
I like the fact that like last week, Apex Legends was a shadow drop battle royale from Respawn, and Nintendo's response was, "Here, hold my beer. We're going to dust off a game from 1988 and give it to people for free." And the internet is going to lose their mind.
Yeah. I think this was smart because Tetris, the success of, is it Tetris Evolution? It's on PS4 that just came out not long ago. There's a Tetris game. Tetris Effect. That's it. I was looking for an E word.
I heard the VR version is pretty trippy.
Tetris Effect on PlayStation 4 has been very highly rated, very highly talked about. And so they bring out their own Tetris game, and it's free, and it bolsters the online service. Well done, Nintendo. Great job.
Who'd have ever thought we'd have got a Tetris game with not one pulls, not two pulls, but 99 pulls?
Yeah, absolutely.
99
from
people
there,
all playing.
let's talk about a little, just a couple of different things here. In I'm just going to run down some of these. Not too much to say. There are a couple of notables I think that we need to pull out here. Deltarune, Chapter 1 is coming to Switch. This one, I literally laughed out loud at the trailer for this.
Okay, so at the start of the show I said I cried twice. This was the first one because I was in stitches at this trailer. I honestly found it so funny. The dogs and
the spoiler-free review or spoiler-free trailer that was blocked by dogs. This gives me hope in that when Deltarune launched on Halloween last year, this gives me hope that Toby, he said afterwards, Toby Fox said that this game had been 7 years in the making and that it had taken him a long time to put Chapter 1 together, and he currently had no plans for Chapters 2 through whatever because he didn't have a dev team, and he didn't even know how to make one. But he knew he needed one to make the game the scope that he wanted to. There's a secret part of me that hopes that because Nintendo has published so many interviews with Toby Fox since Undertale came out, that Nintendo stepped in and was like, hey, we'll do that.
This is the first time it's on console, right?
Yeah, this is the first place it's coming. There's also PS4. He did tweet later on in the day that there is a PS4 version of this coming as well. But it did mention down at the bottom of the screen, February 28th, Deltarune drops. You can currently pre-purchase it right now.
For free. So what that means is it's loaded.
But then it says at the bottom, subsequent chapters will not be free.
Yeah, which is absolutely fantastic, and I know Marty. I downloaded Undertale based on your recommendation, and I haven't played it yet. I want to clean off some of my other docket and really focus on it because I know it seems to be very important and a big touchstone. But the excitement around this one of those games that when it was announced, I was like, okay, I haven't played Undertale, but again, I know that Marty and his son are probably incredibly hyped for this. I instantly went to the eShop, got the pre-download. It's already installed and ready, and I'll just wait to play it when I am. But I thought this was a very interesting play by Nintendo. I thought it was great. So
yeah, and so here's the thing: for those of you who are listening, have no clue what we're talking about. Do not play Deltarune until you play and finish Undertale. It does not make any sense. It's a great game in and of itself on its own. And you would be able to play it and be able to get through the chapter, but it will not have the significance that it's supposed to if you don't finish Undertale first. So that's just a word of warning. It's out there February 28th. I'm excited for this. Looking forward to. I started it on my computer, and I'd played around with the Undertale demo that was out on the computer before it launched on Switch. Always thought it needed to be on a home console. Wanted it on a Nintendo home console. Same thing for Deltarune. I just didn't think we'd get it this early. Another game with a demo that came out, Daemon X Machina, which is kind of a new IP for Nintendo, has launched. It is Daemon X Machina Prototype Missions. That demo is available right now for a limited time. Online surveys will be available to some players who download the demo for feedback. I have downloaded the demo. Gary, you've downloaded. Justin, did you download this demo?
Justin's gone, I think.
Oh, Justin's gone. Okay. Well, all right, Gary, have you played this?
So this is actually one of the games which got announced at E3, I believe, last year, and one of the only people who was excited for it was me.
I was excited for it.
Yeah, it just lost conversation because of all the other announcements, especially stuff like Metroid Prime 4.
It got lost in conversation because they kind of dropped this butt rock heavy metal trailer for it, right? Then did nothing. They said nothing. It's just like Daemon X Machina. Okay.
Yeah, and I've been looking forward to it for a long time. And when they said there was a demo drop in, I was like, yes, finally get to play it and see more of what the actual gameplay is like, other than some rockets and some heavy metal music, like you said. I really like this game. I really, really like it.
I
It
am
kind of throws back
so
to-
glad that you are completely different than everyone else here.
I am. Thank you,
No, I
Justin.
like it too.
I did not. I played it and I was like, nope, this is not a me thing, but I'm glad that I found that out now.
Here's the thing, though. I think it's important for games like this to exist on the Switch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it's good for the like. I haven't finished the demo yet. I'm going to, and then I think this is one of those games that's going to come out, and whenever it comes out, if there's a gap in my schedule, I might pick. I'm going to pick it up. If not, I'll pick it up later on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think this is a day one purchase for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's not the most perfect game. I'm going to completely put my hands up and admit that right now. But it's just something different. I always like the different sort of experience, on the Nintendo platforms. So that's why I love the 3DS so much. We got 2D Pikmin. Where else could you get 2D Pikmin?
Somebody on the Nintendo voice chat forum on Facebook called it Busted Armored Core. And they said it's Busted Armored Core, and I'm okay with that.
The thing it reminded me of, and kind of making some references to other games that are out there, obviously, but Anthem is dropping on very soon from, I think it's BioWare, right? And it's a mech kind of game where you jump in and you fly around and you have to take kind of jobs. You're kind of a bounty hunter. And this kind of reminded me of like, is this Nintendo's Anthem, or is this Nintendo's call or response to Anthem? And, Tetris 99 was a response to Apex Legends. So, obviously, both things being completely separate at the time in development. I'm sure there's just a weird coincidence, but it kind of reminded me of that. It didn't grab me, but like, again, I could definitely see, it had a bit of Zone of Enders feel at times to it as well. So it's a PlayStation callback as well. So,
yeah. I was going to say, it reminds me of like the really late PlayStation 1, early PlayStation 2 era.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Grid Autosport was also announced, which is a very realistic-looking racing game coming for the Switch this summer. It looked really good. I'm not a huge fan of like sim-style racing games. I want more of like that arcadey feel, like Burnout or Horizon Chase Turbo. But again, this is one of those games I consider and say, if this is for you, like if you're a Gran Turismo person and you've been hoping that something like that would come to the Switch, here you go. This is out there. It's coming. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice was a game that popped up a lot during the Game Awards, especially for its storytelling and how it confronts mental illness and different things like that and trauma. That is coming to the Switch. Looks like if that was Switch footage, which I assume it is because it's in a Nintendo Direct, I thought it looked incredible. But a game, I want to talk about this game for a minute. Just for a minute. I know we can't spend too much time, but there's a game coming out called Dead by Daylight that looks like kind of like it's like a massive multiplayer horror game where you're either running from the killer or you can play as the killer as you try to hunt people down. Is it just me, or did this look like a PS1 game?
I agree.
It looked really bad.
The frame rate in that, I hope that the actual game would be as bad as the frame rate
to
was
me,
in the.
It wasn't the frame rate. It was the textures. It was the different, like the way the characters looked and moved.
Yeah, I was definitely not interested. I was like, moving on.
Yeah, they needed to have moved on real quick, Matt. But they spent a good couple of minutes on it. JC from Nintendo New York says that the crowd went wild when Mortal Kombat 11 showed up on screen, as well as Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, which includes all the DLC. Mortal Kombat launches on April 23rd. Assassin's Creed launches on May 21st. Also shown during this segment was Unravel 2. Which is
surprised me because I thought that was a Microsoft exclusive franchise.
Yeah, that was interesting.
This has been rumored though is coming for a little bit. Unravel 2, March 22nd is when that's coming out, and from there they launched into a trio of Square Enix titles: Final Fantasy VII, which is coming out on March 26th, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon Everybody, which comes out on March 20th. And Final Fantasy IX available now.
Oh, so much goodness, between Unravel and these Final Fantasies. Just
Do you
Final
think it's a
Fantasies.
little odd that they led with Final Fantasy IX?
No, I think it was a smart tactical play because everybody expected seven. Seven's the one that all the Nintendo fans have wanted, and I
Right?
think that nine would have got overshadowed if it was out after Final Fantasy Seven. So I think it's actually a good play. I think
Yeah,
it
but
was
we
the
knew
right
all
move.
of them were going to be out in April or by April.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they're coming
yeah.
there
10
so
and
close
12
to
are
each other.
coming out. We have 4 games coming out in less than 3 months.
Yeah.
My point is, I think that they're quite long games. So if you brought seven and then nine dropped like 2 weeks later, you wouldn't pick up nine.
I guess
The other way
this
around, I
is
think you would.
this is my kind of where I kind of went, that's an odd, it's an interesting choice, is that they chose to use 7 in an ad campaign
Yeah.
and then they dropped 9 instead. Because I mean, I've not just seen that Final Fantasy VII airplane ad on YouTube on Nintendo's channel. I've seen it on my TV, like during commercial breaks, and I'm like, oh, so that one it makes it look like Final Fantasy VII is available right now,
I'm
and
going to
it's
say
not.
this, and other people might disagree with it, but I think Final Fantasy Nine is it's not the best showing of the Final Fantasies. It's not as unique as seven or eight, in my opinion, and I think that's why seven would be used because it was the
It's
big one.
it's not, but Final Fantasy IX is the purest form of Final Fantasy,
Yes, it is. I
and that's why I
completely,
love it.
yeah.
I love it for what it is. I will be playing this one again. It is my favorite Final Fantasy besides seven, um, and it's the first role playing game that I played through with my wife, and so we talked today about getting it and playing through it again once we finish Kingdom Hearts 3. So, which will be west of never.
I'm still waiting
Right,
for
we're
6 in
going.
the Octopath engine.
Ooh, God, Jesse, hush! You make me want games. From here, 3 last announcements were made. They announced a game called Astral Chain, which is being developed by Platinum Games. This game is set to launch August 30th. Not very many details given, other than it looks to be set in Japan, in some kind of futuristic cyberpunk police world where the police fight demons with chain like weapons. And it was mentioned that there will be more announced about the game and the controls later on, which leads me to believe that there's some probably motion controls or something going on here. It looked interesting, at least. I'm not going to crap on it yet.
I
But
think it looked amazing. I'm
there's a
sold
lot
on it.
of positive hype about this game so
Yeah.
far.
I mean, it's not normally a style that I like, the sort of futuristic Tokyo sort of style. But there's something about this game that's drawing me in, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It might be the robot dog. It might be the robot dog.
It might be the robot dog. They also announced that Bayonetta 3 is still in development because, I mean, if you showed a game from Platinum and you didn't say something about Bayonetta 3, those folks would probably lose their minds. I'm thinking particularly of John Blanco, who is one of our Patreon producers and resident Bayonetta fan extraordinaire. But it's, in other words, all they basically said is, hey, yeah, we're still making Bayonetta 3.
I mean, we had this with Bayonetta 2, right? It got announced really early, and you can't blame Nintendo for it. It's got its hardcore fans who all buy the system knowing the promise of Bayonetta's there. And, it's going to be the same Bayonetta 3. It might not even be next year. It might be the year after that it releases. It's one of those things that will just all of a sudden hit you.
At this point, it may be a 2020 game.
Yeah,
who
I
knows?
mean, before we get on to the last one, can we just talk about the leaks for a second? Because I think that the leaks built up a lot of expectations that would never get met, and
Okay.
I think that this really, honestly, should be the Nintendo Direct that makes us listen to the leakers less, and it's never going to happen. Because there was Pikmin 3 port,
Pikmin 4.
4. Metroid Prime HD trilogy never happening. There was
Oh.
a whole bunch of things that was rumored to be
But
coming.
they also correctly leaked Super Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, but that's like saying I predict at some point there will be water in the ocean. You know, it's one of those things that was a given. I think it's like the directs
But
happening next
here's
week.
the thing, though, Gary. Let me and I agree with you to an extent. But the same guy who said that Mario Maker 2 was coming is also the guy who said the Direct was coming on the 13th.
Yeah, but the direct coming is a thing that I'm getting at. People have been saying the direct's coming for 6 weeks. When it didn't happen the first week, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's coming next week." No, it didn't. No, it's coming next week. No, it didn't again.
So, I think with anything, like, you know, and we do a little bit of prediction here, right? Like, we had predictions of what they're going to show, and you know, use a little bit of logic and reason. I think with anything, like, unless you are literally the person cutting the video or was part of the Nintendo meetings to do it, you have to take all of it with a little bit of a grain of salt, right? And I think the point that you're making, Gary, is that when we believe leaks to be true, and we don't take it with a grain of salt, we create unfair and unreasonable expectations that cannot be met, right? Like, I've seen some chat comments like, "I'm so peeved that they didn't show us Pikmin 4," and I'm like, well, Pikmin 4 has never even been confirmed in development yet, or confirmed is actually done. We haven't seen any of that, right?
Miyamoto said 5 years ago it was pretty much done.
Yeah, and it was Hey Pikmin.
I agree with that. It's definitely.
But like, what would give you reason to think they're going to show that here? Do you know what I mean? Like, or, and I mean, I get people who are like disappointed of like, hey, they didn't show Animal Crossing. Yeah, totally get that one, right? But again, that means they're going to show it at E3 probably, right?
Yeah,
like,
E3
like,
floor is going to be so much Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it just means
Animal
it's not a spring
Crossing,
game this year.
Luigi's Mansion, like
generation.
all these things it's that kind of like instant gratification. I want now. Right, which is starting to very much irritate me a fair bit, and I think that we just have to kind of put into perspective a little bit of just like, we all have hopes and dreams of what we want, but like everyone's upset about like, hey, there's no, to your point, Gary, where is Metroid Prime trilogy? Nintendo has never confirmed they are doing a Metroid Prime trilogy. We are all willing and wishing it into existence, and then we get disappointed when it doesn't show up. This is like it's like Christmas, right? Like, the thing that Nintendo at least has been doing, and I'm happy that they got out now in front of it, is the larger the gap of information. Here's the thing: in a vacuum or lack of information, people create information to be either true or false, and that's when the expectation gap between reality and what will occur, or what they want, becomes much wider. Do you know what I mean? And so when people are like, Nintendo hasn't talked to us for 104 days. What is going on, right? It creates an expectation gap that, when they do show up, it's going to be everything I want and desire under the sun. And the reality is, no, it's not. And so then you have people who kind of backlash of like, hey, this is unfair. Guess what? Life is unfair. You got 35 minutes of directs, and I think 23 games announced. Shut up.
I mean, the Metroid Prime HD trilogy has become something that's started crawling under my skin a little bit, I'm not going to lie. In the same way that Mother 3 did back in the Wii U days, which it seemed to have dropped off now. Nobody's hammering for that anymore. But during the Wii U...
Really? Because do you remember when they said that they're going to announce, or Nintendo has an unannounced game that everyone is going to be happy about? Do you know what everyone said? Oh, it's Mother 3. It's Mother 3. If you get Mother 3, you're going to replace it with something else. Oh my God, it's the unreleased, I don't know, whatever's. Like, give yourself a head shake here, folks. Again, large expectations are created, and then unfortunately they're not satisfied.
And Justin, that's kind of what I was trying to get across last week, that I think that Nintendo, when there is that large gap between their official communication, these leaks, I'm not saying they're to blame, because they're never to blame for leaks. They don't want this stuff to get out before they announce it. I mean, and we know that Nintendo is notorious for wanting to be in control of every little thing, but they kind of create that misinformation. They kind of create that misunderstanding. They create the atmosphere of spinning and leaking and all kinds of things like that. Not necessarily saying they leak it, but it opens that opportunity up even more, because people are, you've got a lot of people who would classify themselves as diehard fans who want that information, And you can't really. I'm saying I agree with you about the impatience, but you can't really blame people for wanting to know things.
No, I agree. And I mean, we are guilty of it here as well, right? We've talked about let's do predictions, let's think about it, right? But it's the reality. The thing that when I talk about like predictions, and I've said, it'd be great, Super Mario Odyssey DLC, right? Now, just because you've heard on this podcast does not mean it's actually reality or coming to fruition, but it's something that I think would be really interesting and I think would be cool. And I think, but now what's happened is everyone's like, oh my God, did you hear? There's a rumor, guys, Super Mario Odyssey DLC is coming out. The Nintendo, it creates this false expectation. And the other point is, you cannot expect a company like Nintendo to be out every week being like, here's what we're doing this week, guys. See you on Monday. We'll tell you next week what we're doing again. Do you know what I mean? You have to create everything with a grain of salt. And I do agree that people are passionate, people want to know information, and so do we. But I think it's just checking expectations, right? Again, at no point has Nintendo said we are developing a Metroid Prime trilogy, but everyone's pissed that they don't have a Metroid Prime trilogy. They didn't say they were going to do that. But the internet and this willingness has created this gap that it exists. It may not exist. It really may not. Logically, it should exist. Logic, potential, but there's work and effort and time and money and marketing and that doesn't mean it's there, right? It's the same idea. It's the same thing. I think
for the Metroid Prime trilogy,
when people said Xbox is coming to Nintendo, and the immediate jump was awesome, I can play Gears of War 4 next month on my Nintendo Switch, and you're like, no, how did you get there? Get your head. It just.
Oh, I just did.
You could send your direct emails to nintendodads@gmail.com.
Here's the thing, Justin. I think that especially with the Metroid Prime trilogy announcement or shadow announcement or whatever it was supposed to be, because I even saw people going, it's happening today, and it's going to be available now. Wishful thinking, obviously, on a lot of people's part, right? But do you think that some of that spun up more simply because of the disappointment of Metroid Prime 4?
No, it was that was an.
I mean, I know it was already in the conversation.
People were whining
Metroid Prime 4, but I just saw it caught fire.
Here's the thing: is people got disappointed when it didn't show up at the Game Awards, right? So we're disappointed it doesn't show up at the Game Awards, and yet Nintendo's like, hey, by the way, we're doing this thing with Marvel Alliance. Anyone excited about this? Yeah, sure, it's cool. But where's my Metroid Prime 4 or my Metroid trilogy that you never actually told me you're doing? And it's like, really? Come on now.
All right. So I like this from the chat. The third strongest mole says that the fourth strongest mole works at Nintendo and told him that Earthbound 64 is finally coming out this year.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. All of us know we all have an uncle that works for Nintendo, right? Each and every one of us. And that's where we get all of our information from. But I think that's a good point. And just bringing up this thing about leaks and different things, that just to remind, this is why Nintendo does directs, right?
Yeah.
It's or at least that's what it's meant to be. We are listen to what I'm saying, Nintendo Direct. We are giving you the information directly so that there is no speculation. I just think, honestly, I was thinking about this today before we started recording. I think we got a little spoiled over the last couple of years because information has flown more freely. Mm-hmm. It was, we got to launch this new console, so there's going to be more information and we're going to communicate more regularly. And then for the last two E3s, Nintendo has gone in and totally wrecked it. And it's been awesome. And then we've had specific directs for certain games. And then there was this big, especially Smash. Smash got 3 directs?
Yeah.
So then there was the gap.
Yeah. I want to call out Bush and Ryu Cat says, Justin, Kingdom Hearts 3 teaches me dreams come true. So Metroid Prime Trilogy exists for fall 2019.
Oh yeah, but none of the see that,
here's the thing. I mean, and Bush and Ryu Cat kind of seems logical enough to kind of understand his joke there, which is, just because I want it to be doesn't mean it does, but let's have a bit of a crack about it, right? I don't know. It's just a little bit frustrating at times. That's all. So
yeah, I mean,
but what wasn't frustrating? What wasn't disappointing?
Tell me.
Was
hang on. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about that trailer with the water. And,
yeah, there was a trailer with water that seemed pretty
Frozen
amazing.
2.
Frozen 2. Let it go. Let it go. Just let Metroid Prime Trilogy. Let it go. Yeah, no, absolutely right. So I mean, that's a great segue off to our very final, which was the as he was teasing, just wait till the very end. Wait till the very end. Wait till the very end. And of course, it's Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening for 2019. Guys, how did this land with you?
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. I heard everyone saying, "Please God, don't let us be on the 3DS."
No,
right.
I would have. Here's the thing, Justin. Everybody thinks I hate the 3DS. I would have played this if it was on 3DS.
You hypocrite.
No,
Gary, go ahead.
No, I played Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS because it was the only place to play it. And because I love Luigi's Mansion. Here's the thing. Games that I genuinely love will cause me to unretire that system.
Sure.
And so Link's Awakening is probably in my top 3 Zeldas of all time. I actually within the last year replayed it on the 3DS. The virtual console version or whatever. I played the deluxe version with the color dungeon. I freaked out. Like my kids were like, "Is something wrong with you? Are you okay?" Because
they don't have the nostalgia.
They don't know, but I mean, like as soon as I saw the waves, I knew what it was. I was like, "This is Zelda." I was just going, "Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!" And my son's like, "Dad, what is this? What is this?" And I was like, just watch." And then he saw Link for the first time. And I thought, hey, it's just going to be updated graphics. Actually, the first thing I thought was this is going to be a 3D game. They've made this into 3D, right? Somehow. And then they showed that, the art direction on this game is so good.
Yeah. Gary,
it's very divisive.
Yeah, I'm actually in the air on this one about the art direction. I know this is going to be a game I buy and play anyway, but I wasn't expecting like the Land of Misfits toys as an art style.
Yes, there it is. Thank you, Jesse. I couldn't figure out what that art style was. That's exactly the Land of Misfits
it looks like Hermie from Rudolph.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
There it is.
And now you can't unhear it. You're welcome.
I don't need to unhear it. It's fantastic.
Gary, you've been quietly sitting there, just pretending as if you're stoic. Go ahead.
Okay, so I said that I was planning on doing a reactions live stream of the Nintendo Direct. I'm kind of glad I didn't now because people would have seen a 31-year-old guy ugly crying with happiness, which would not have been a good sight. I mean, I snorted and everything happened. It was like... So
there's a story to this game for you, though, right?
Oh, it hit me so hard in the warmest of places. The reason is basically this was I consider Breath of the Wild to be the best game that's ever been made. My favourite game of all time is Link's Awakening for multiple reasons. It's one of the only games which I actually have solid nostalgia for. It's a game that I would consider in many ways define who I am and what I like and built my personality as a kid. It kind of taught me how to read. There's a lot of things in there. I got memories of long road trips with the family, playing it in the back of the car, struggling to get the green screen of the Game Boy to actually work in the darkness, trying to angle it off every lamppost that we go past. And memories of loved ones who aren't with us anymore, like sitting in their house playing it and them asking me questions because they didn't understand what a Game Boy was, because back in their day it was, I don't know, something like abacuses that they used to play with. so I've got
Jesse
so many...
resembles that remark.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So many memories of this game which sort of make me like happy and sad at the same time, and seeing it reinvented in not only a way that completely resembles everything that it was, but is also such a new art style and new sort of sound and sound and everything, but still so true to the original is something that only Nintendo really could do it that way. To recreate a game in basically Funko Pop, but still be the original is amazing to me.
It
really
skewed it at like a weird angle too. Like when they were showing some of the footage, it almost looked like it was a diorama.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they took what they learned from Link Between Worlds and kind of applied it here as well. Because it's actually, it is a 3D environment from an up camera, but it's not overhead. It's kind of a 30 degrees, 40 degree angle. So their models are actually standing at a diagonal, so it looks right based on this view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary, thanks very much for sharing that with us. That was
JC,
means a lot too.
JC's last comment about being at the Nintendo store was he says, "Oh my gosh, pretty sure the girl next to me is crying."
That was me. That was there.
And I think that's that's legitimate in this. He said basically the reaction was that people loved this. He was cue all the crying that was somebody else. He said so much happiness. Girl next to me may be crying.
I wonder if she was snorting as well with ugly crying. Was she there going?
And just because I'm sure I'm going to appreciate the art style in time. It's probably something I just have to see and witness. Just what the first initial look was. I don't know. Just as a similar, I had the same reaction to the Alolan form of Will Smith, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
I do.
I'm sure.
I really don't know what you guys are talking about.
Live action Aladdin.
Live action Aladdin.
Yeah.
He is Genie.
Someone photoshopped a picture of him in real life next to him as Genie in Aladdin. It said Will Smith, and then on the right side it said Alolan Will Smith.
Yeah, in like the 2-second clip they showed in the trailer, it looks ridiculous. I'm sure things will smooth out before the final, and we'll be able to see it for the an hour and a half movie. So I think I'm sure I'll get used to it. But just that was a shock to the system.
There's three things that I instantly took away from this trailer. Is one, the art style is completely different, but the marriage between that and the recreation of the music in a different style blended perfectly together. And then hearing Link swing his sword with his scream that was like childish and more younger, like blended into that even more. So I think that the overall art style and direction on this is on point. So I think we're into something really special as a remake here. I think this could actually set the standard for 2D remakes, and I think that being a Game Boy, we've got some Game Boy remakes basically already, or reimaginings on the Switch with Let's Go, and I think that this is something entirely different because it looks more closer to the original than Let's Go did, but yet a lot more different. So I'm so excited for this, like ridiculously excited for this.
Yeah, and so to allude back to something I said at the beginning of the show, Justin, I mentioned to you that August 30th is the last date, set in stone date that we had, and you had said something about a roadmap to E3. My selfish hope is that the 2019 date shown for this game is August 30th or before.
Yeah,
because the last half of the year, if E3 gives us a roadmap for the last half of the year, and there's stuff that we haven't seen yet, even with just Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing, and Pokemon, the last half of the year is pretty crowded as well after August.
Yeah, but in all fairness, though, I think that traditionally it's almost how Nintendo has actually done their layouts, right? The Q1 is typically a bit slower for them. It's kind of a soft launch. Q2 they begin to build up some momentum, usually in May and moving into June. Q3. July is typically like a 1, maybe 1 or 2. August, usually late, is 1. And then they start to really begin to ramp up the machine, right? As we begin to go into Q4 of the calendar year, because that's where a lot more of those sales are going to be made, right? Definitely around the Christmas time, the large money is going to be moving there. So that's why, you're talking to September, October, November, December, that's where you're going to see those lineups of, your wallet's going to hurt basically every single month, because I think you're going to see, you got Pokemon at the end of November. I suspect this will be in the October time frame, potentially near the end of October. I think you're going to see Animal Crossing potentially in September. Luigi's Mansion is a question mark for where that's going to land. In my opinion, that may be December. I don't know for sure, but I think you're going to start seeing kind of like it's going to really, the back end is going to really be there for sure. And Nintendo also can surprisingly just drop all of a sudden game somewhere, be like, hey, by the way, it's out in a couple weeks from now. I definitely don't think, if everyone's like 2019 is a scary year for Nintendo, I think you're not looking at this right. I think they've actually set themselves to have, I think, a really strong year comparatively, actually even 2018, despite the fact that you have Pokemon and Smash. I think they're hitting a banger every year. So
yeah. Let's run over some comments from our community. I don't think we're going to really have time to get into our Let's Play or what we've been playing and everything tonight, but we ask on Twitter and Patreon and Facebook, what did you think about the Direct? And so I'm going to read off some of these comments very quickly. Zombie Duck Rob says, great Direct, lots of info and a few surprises. Not a great deal for me to get excited over, but I think for what the masses would want from a Direct, very good. Mikey Burgett says, love Tetris 99, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9, Oninaki, Super Mario Maker 2, and a remastered Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Nintendo is going to be getting a lot of my money in 2019. It's a Bug Hunt Man says, Super Mario Maker 2 is all I could ever want, and Link's Awakening is icing on the cake. I'm not in agreement with people upset about no Luigi's Mansion or Animal Crossing footage. We know those games are coming. We know we're going to buy them. I'd rather see new games announced during a Direct like this.
That's probably the best answer there.
Yeah, and I'll take a bit of a pause there. I think, I did hear a lot of people were like upset that we didn't get this in this Direct. And again, this is not the only time Nintendo will talk to us between now and E3. They will have another Direct at some point. But what I think this does mean is that it most likely means that E3 is going to be a big blowout for those games that we don't know. That will be in the back half of the year, right? So I think you're going to get, and you're going to, I wouldn't be shocked if their E3 set piece is Animal Crossing, is like they've built the village right there, and you can walk around and do all that. I wouldn't be shocked if that's that. But I think that's where you're going to get a lot more of that information.
Yeah. Manolo Ruiz says, it was a very good Direct, lacked a couple of things to make it a wonderful Direct for me, but it was far from a disappointment. The lack of Metroid Prime Trilogy and Super NES games for the online were a letdown, but those were just personal expectations. Antonio Catronio says, starting with Mario Maker 2 was so awesome. While the Direct as a whole was different than I expected, I was impressed. It left me excited for the future of the Switch. Michael at Muamua. Great Direct. So many games to be looking forward to. Looking like it will be another solid end to the year. I didn't expect to see Pokemon, as that's a system seller, so I expect November or December. I just worry Town and Pokemon could be released too close together. And that's a game that we've actually not mentioned at all on the show. Town was shown off during the last Direct and was dated for 2019. So that's interesting. I hadn't even thought of that game. Adam Land says, I don't get Fire Emblem. Is it big in America? Because I've not heard much in the UK. Looking at the trailer for it, I got no excitement, so I don't get the fascination for it. It looks just like another turn-based tactical game. I thought the reveal went on too long. Saul Reed says, obviously I love the announcement of Link's Awakening after 26 years. So much and so I've broken out my original Game Boy to refresh myself on it again. Dare I say it, the remake looks dang right adorable. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Enderlide, this last of our Twitter comments, says, beyond excited about Link's Awakening. It's a game I've never played. This year is packed with great games, and E3 is no exception. Lots of great stuff over there, guys. Thanks for chiming in. Anything you guys want to add to that while I pull up these Patreon comments?
Yeah, there was a slight difference between the UK and American directs. As you'd probably expect, things like prices was one of the things that were on there. But the Fire Emblem Special Edition that's releasing is different in the UK to the American version. I believe you're getting a soundtrack CD and a few little things. We're getting pin badges and the soundtrack USB, not CD. We're getting it on USB, which I think is something that the entire industry should have done a long time ago, is make it digital files. But hey, whatever. We live in a world where plastic CDs are still a thing. So yeah, there is a big difference.
You realize
with the special
CDs are still digital, right?
Yeah, but they're plastic. Circles of
American
oldness.
consumers still love we want that big shiny thing to hold on to.
Yeah, whereas meanwhile by me there is no CD stores at all anymore because HMV went into administration.
It's because we don't have space over in the EU, Gary. We don't have space.
Yeah,
you guys have run out of space even for CDs. Let's get to these Patreon comments. John Blanco, one of our Patreon producers, he says, loved it. Mario Maker 2, Yoshi, Fire Emblem continue to look more amazing each time we see them. Link's Awakening is day one, clear the decks, play from the first minute worthy. And the big winner for me was Astral Chain. I want to know more about this game from the maker of Bayonetta, plus Captain Toad DLC, and true co-op means it's time to play this game all over again with my son. Plus, I've already spent time with Tetris 99, and it's amazing. All this, and we didn't even hear a peep from Animal Crossing, Metroid Prime 4, Pikmin, or Pokemon. Just imagine what the rest of the year holds. Eric says, loved it. Never played Link's Awakening, so incredibly excited for that. Mario Maker 2 looks amazing. Wasn't a huge fan of the Fire Emblem stuff. It went on a little too long for my taste, but they did mention that this would be focused on, so I wasn't too surprised. But then he adds this, still probably buying it day one, though. Third Strongest Mole says, I know I'm in the minority on Link's Awakening, but I just don't get excited for games I've already played, no matter how pretty they look this time. I'm excited for summer releases, especially Mario Maker 2, but there's a substantial gap in releases after Yoshi. I don't get excited for ports either. That Fire Emblem delay is hurting the release schedule pretty badly. Tim Regis Jr., overall very excited. I did kind of snooze out for a bit in the middle, and even my 11-year-old was like, enough with Dragon Quest. But now we know even more of what's coming in already great 2019. I'm hoping that Fire Emblem is more than what appears to be a fictional version of me teaching an online class to a bunch of snobby rich kids. I own Link's Awakening DS on the 3DS.
Sounds exactly like what it is.
So I'm really looking forward to that. The art style looks amazing. I was really hoping for Metroid. I've been wanting to replay the Prime series, but I've been holding off with all the speculation. Also, please, Nintendo, give us Mario Golf on the Switch. Shiv UK says there didn't seem to be much in the way of things to be excited about for this spring. This, especially the delay of Fire Emblem, is probably why their forecast for Switch sales was lowered from 20 million. Overall, was happy. I've never played Link's Awakening, and I'm really looking forward to it. Mario Maker finally happy to get demos to try out games I'm interested in, and Tetris 99 came out of nowhere and kept me up later than any game in a long time. Best of all, so many JRPGs. Dan Caparello says, I'm sure the lack of Metroid, Animal Crossing Luigi's Mansion will upset some, but barring unrealistic expectations, this direct got me so hyped for 2019. Link's Awakening was one of my favorite games as a kid. Mario Maker 2, such a welcome surprise. Tetris 99 is crazy fun. If you were disappointed by this direct, you have no soul. Tech Mike, great surprises with Mario Maker 2, Assassin's Creed 3, and of course, the Link's Awakening reveal. Was disappointed in all the focus on JRPGs and of course no Pikmin. Philip C. Brandon, nothing really blew me away except for Link's Awakening. We'll definitely be getting that. I'm not into Fire Emblem or Mario Maker, but I am excited for those that want it. I'm also picking up Final Fantasy IX as it's my favorite of all time. Aaron Miller, I for one am very upset. All that money I won't have anymore. My kids need college. Quit making awesomeness, Nintendo. Bruce Patterson, I really enjoyed it. My big surprises were free Tetris and a new Zelda game. I was right. There was a hashtag please understand moment. Wobble Puffet.
Wobble Buffett? Wobble Buffett?
There you go. Nick Metzger, last comment here. So much good stuff. Really excited to get some understanding for this year. My one complaint, it seems like they're going to backload the year with their big first-party titles, or they are all being delayed. My faves, Zelda Assassin's Creed 3. Would have liked to have seen a different Assassin's Creed, but still cool. Tetris 99, though I really suck at it. And, of course, Mario Maker 2. Thank you guys so much for your comments. Guys, I think that's where we're going to close up. Anything you want to add to that before we do?
Well, I wanted to kind of slide back to Tetris 99 to talk a little bit about what I noticed going through the menus. I did I recorded a Let's Play last night, which we'll post tomorrow morning. So, and then if you look in the stats menu from the main menu, you'll see all and Tetris 99 stats, and I'm like, okay, what's the point? It hints to me that there's probably going to be additional modes that will be paid DLC in the future, which is why they use the term pay to download, not pay free to play. Free to download, not free to play.
Yeah, and data miners have already discovered evidence of modes that are coming, like versus 99 CPU, teams of 50 versus each other, and lots of other things that you would expect from shooters, but not from Tetris.
Yeah,
so
they're going all Fortnite on us with
I think
Tetris.
This is going to be a game that we look back on and we go, that had an insane amount of value for what you actually paid for it or got out of it. And I'm excited about that. Justin, Gary, anything you want to say before we close out the show?
Go ahead, Gary.
Does the J in JRPG stand for Jesse?
Yes, it does.
Sometimes.
That's confirmed an itching question that I've had for 3 years.
Nice. That's great. No, I think my commentary was good. If you think I was ranty at any point, you're welcome. Enjoy that. Also, guys, thank you for everyone I'm looking at the chat right now and catching us live. Thank you, everyone who jumped in here. Love the commentary. Great conversation going on here. We appreciate everyone who joins us live, whether it's actually watching the show live or whether you're downloading us later. I guess just a big thank you for everyone who just supports the show. I don't think we say that enough.
Through all the Skype glitches.
And through all the Skype glitches. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, guys, you guys really are like the best community at all. And like the amount of conversations we've had online just in the last couple of days about whether it's a direct or about other episodes in the podcast. I've had an opportunity to talk to Marty and some of the other guys about this back end, is that I just love the fact that our community will reach out and have a conversation with us, and a mature, logical conversation. If you think we're right about something, yeah, that's great. If you think we're wrong about something, the ability to disagree in a respectful and conversational adult tone is really well done. I think that our community has that ability and has that maturity about them. So I would just say this, thank you.
Yeah.
I think it encourages people to grow, to think differently, to challenge the way we think, to understand, to think about how we're delivering our content. And I think it's really helpful and healthy. And hopefully that people feel that within this community that not that we've built, but just has been created, that everyone has that opportunity to feel that way. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it's important that we don't ever lose that, right? That we don't ever lose the ability to respond civilly to each other. And to also remember that just because we're on this side of the recording doesn't mean we're always right. Doesn't mean we're always wrong either, but it doesn't mean we're always right. And so we reserve the right to say that a lot of what we say are our opinions.
Yeah, we're literally 4 people, sometimes 5, sometimes 6, who sit around on a Skype call and chat about video games, and we have no, other than being passionate people and a little bit of logic, we have no insider information, I think, but we're just happy to be able to proctor or facilitate a conversation about something we're passionate about, and we're glad that everyone who joins us or listens to us or connects with us in some way found that as well.
Absolutely. And so, guys, again, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting the show. You're the reason we do what we do, that and the fact that we love Nintendo. And so that's what started the conversation. That's what'll keep it going. Let me mention something real quick here as we close out the show. Be sure, if you are a patron and you're on our Discord, that you go over to the Let's Play section of the Discord chat. to check out the Discord community. Super cool Nintendo Dads Season 2 tournament that's going on right now. Currently, the game that you can compete in that tournament is ice hockey on the NES app on Nintendo Switch Online. I believe the format is how many goals can you score by the end of the first period. You definitely need to check that out.
Coming in are insane.
Yes, like in the 20s. It's nuts. I've not ever played that game.
And guys, one of the things I love about this, the Let's Play in these kind of tournaments that are being run, is literally we're trying to make it as accessible as anyone. And like everyone to jump in and join. You know, if you have a Nintendo Switch Online, you've got access to these games. You can easily jump in. You can easily participate. You don't need to go and buy another game or another thing. So hopefully, again, it's building community that's accessible and easy to connect with.
Absolutely, and that's the whole goal. Also, over on that Let's Play right now is the War Groove League, and you can follow along with that. You can join in with that. We're in the middle of one right now. We won't always be in the middle of one, so if you miss this first one, you can jump in with that. And so if you're going to join in that, please check in with Drew over on Discord, and he will point you in the right direction, either to submit your updates for your score or to join in for the first time. Guys, as we close out the show, we want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, John Blanco, Dave Ernsberger, and Timothy Off. Thank you guys for supporting us at the producer level and for being awesome, as well as to all of our other patrons, no matter what level of support you're at. You are awesome. Don't let anybody lie to you and tell you otherwise. You can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads to support us like these fine folks. And you can follow us on social media. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, at Nintendo Dads. All one word, all together. Just search for Nintendo Dads. You should be able to find us. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. You can call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. And if you want to buy some sweet Nintendo Dads merchandise, head on over to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads store, all lowercase, and pick up some of that new Voltendo merchandise, like a phone case or a shirt, or, you could just get a picture of Justin dressed like Donkey Kong, and he can be your duvet cover on your bed. Your wife will really love that. Late Valentine's Day gift there for them. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show, and Adam Leonard and Carter Johnson for all the sweet artwork they provide for us. For me, for Justin, Gary, and Jesse, this has been episode 217 of Nintendo Dads. Bye-bye.
Thank you for
listening to Nintendo Dads.
Wobble Puffet? Wobble Buffet?
You guys